Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We've come to our last presentation of the month of May 2025, and we would like to have a discussion, a chat. So that's why I've called it a May chat, the May chat. Today's topic for discussion is quite an interesting one, and it was stimulated by last week's discussion. What is meant by healing? So I'd like us to have a lively discussion with a view to enhancing our resolution to properly use our magnificent products. And please underline those words, to properly use them. They are what they are: nutrition supplements, cleaning products, and the skincare range for the purpose of making our lives healthier and happier. Just a little introduction. Those of us who live in this house, my husband and I, are always open to facilitate healing for the patients that we see. We are both trained medical doctors, and a few years ago, we started our brand called Simply Healthier. It was actually an idea of mine that came from a stint I had in a radio station in the Eastern Cape. And so that name I chose because being healthy should really not be complicated. It shouldn't be rocket science, as I like to say. So look at this word very carefully. Healthy, correct? It comes from two words: heal thyself. So my plea to people is to stop outsourcing your health. But I like to ask questions, and one question is, what is wrong? Yeah, and that's what Neolife has taught us to ask and to really get answers for it. So if we're looking for healing, start by asking the right questions, because right now we are seeing so many chronic diseases, and we are trying to manage the symptoms with lots of medications, and I think that might be a challenge. This is a quote that many of you may have seen already: effective questioning. And it's by Albert Einstein, who said, if I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. Because once I know the proper question, I could solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. And so I want us to adopt that attitude. And I'll tell you why I want us to adopt that attitude. For the guests, welcome, welcome, welcome. And for the new distributors as well. We are here as a family on a mission to make the world healthier and happier. And I'm hoping that we can get enough people who take this mission up seriously and say, yes, I want to do this, because there are so many good incentives. You'll hear a lot about how we've just come back from an amazing few days in Cape Town. And now, literally, it will be from Cape to Cairo, because we want to take as many people as possible to Cairo. But first of all, we have to ask questions such as, what factors lead to gene expression and manifestations of diseases? Have we thought about that? Yes. We know that nutrition is a critical determinant of immune responses, and malnutrition is the most common cause of immunodeficiency. And all that depends on what we choose to eat, because it is said that 75% of all chronic diseases are preventable if we choose correctly. So I don't want us to get into that situation where we retire with some money or lots of money, but then we end up spending it all trying to buy our health back. We need to become wise now. And I suppose that's what we want to discuss. So I just want to introduce you very quickly to our products, and we'll start with the Scientific Advisory Board, which was established in the mid-70s by Dr. Arthur First. He was a top toxicologist, pharmacologist, and cancer researcher. so brilliant that he actually was one of the pioneers of oral cancer treatment and lots of other medications that we now use, and we thank him for. Things like ARVs, I'm sure, were researched following his pioneering work. And so they teach us that everything should happen at a cellular level. That is brilliant. And we have the privilege of being in a family where we know such information, we are given such information. Now, just to remind us that to be well, we have to do lots of physical activity. We have to eat food in certain proportions, among which are whole grains. But I'll pause right there and say whole grains, as they are supposed to be, are very, very difficult to come by because of industrialization and food processing. Then we're supposed to eat fruits and vegetables, a fair amount, some protein, good quality, hopefully, and fat and sugar of the right quality and the right types of fat. But unfortunately, typically, we end up eating a lot of processed fats and sugars and processed other carbohydrates, which turn into sugar once broken down. And then we hardly do any physical activity. And the result of that is that our management of weight and other health parameters is totally thrown off balance and diseases begin. So just to put it in another way, when we are born, we are supposed to be 100% healthy. And hopefully we aspire to live a very long life. Let's put it at 100 years. But unfortunately, what we see is that by the teenage years, people are already beginning to say they are tired, even earlier sometimes. And then before too long, they slip into the sick zone. And so between the ages of about 35 and about 70, I used to call it the dream of people who make their living out of that, the profession that I happen to belong to, okay? Because if there are enough sick people, they'll be sustained. But we are trying to say, hey, let's do something different. Rather than lose all that life and quality of life, we can decide that rather than spending 20 to 50 years on chronic medication, we can treat ourselves differently by becoming healthy. So healthy cells look something like that. They allow nutrients in and excretion out, toxins and other things, metabolites. But unfortunately, cells become unhealthy quickly because there is that lacking. The basic nutrient that actually feeds the cell membrane and allows nutrients in and metabolites that need to leave the cell out. Threonine was introduced by this company in 1958. So we are talking many, many years. And that's what it does. It enhances energy, improves nutrient utilization efficiency. And generally, if somebody happens to also be on medication, the medication will work better. So notice I'm not saying stop all medication. No, there is a role for medication. Just witness our Scientific Advisory Board founder. So we say that to prevent disease, just do three simple things. Manage weight. It's becoming harder and harder, I must tell you. Do some physical activity. That too is becoming more and more difficult because of the lifestyle. And watch your diet, a diet rich in whole food nutrients. So let me just run through our products quickly. We have a concept called nutrition. It gives us all the building blocks of protein called amino acids. It also gives us these 4 critical nutrients, threonine that you've just seen, carotenoid complex, fruits and vegetable extracts that are antioxidant and therefore protect the cell and protect the oils. Then fish oil, omega-3 oil, that's a huge deficiency. So we get that as a supplement, and multivitamin and multimineral. And then, excuse me, we have the 22 amino acids that control blood sugar. Very important. And then we have detox nutrients, supplements that help with detoxification. This was the first thing that Dr. Arthur First got to work on when he came across to Neolife. And then we have environmental awareness. We are so aware that we as human beings are one with the environment. So we need to keep it as pristine as possible. So these are all biodegradable, non-toxic, and non-polluting cleaning products. Very economical as well, and they save water. And then the skincare is 100% organic. So as you can see, we have all the products you need to create a good lifestyle for yourself. And in so doing, you can build a good group of people, a business that are also doing likewise and saving the environment, but getting money as well, being paid. Right. So this is what we discussed this month, the confounding disease conditions that we discussed. We talked about autoimmune disorders. We talked about HIV and AIDS. And we also discussed sickle cell disease and particularly the anemia that results from that condition. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of introducing a very good friend of mine, and she sent me her bio. I won't talk too much about everything, but that is her. She's a business owner, Mrs. Nella Nodo, and she's recently come to the Neolife family, and I am so happy and privileged that together we're going to really work this business and all of us will become healthier and happier. And she also, as you can see on the screen, is passionate about biblical counseling. So she was born in the Eastern Cape in a place called Lusikisiki. She has a bachelor's degree in community development, which is awesome. And right now she's studying to get a degree in theology. Her passion right now is building homes by supporting first her own family to heal from childhood traumas, and then after that, extending that support to others in her sphere of influence. That is exactly the ethos of Neolife, if you listen carefully. So, yes, she has recently joined our family, so you're going to hear from her. Nella, you are welcome. If you want me to allow you to show your face, but if you prefer that we keep your picture on, please unmute yourself and speak to us. Thank you.
I think I'll allow you to keep my picture on. Thank you so, so much. Good evening, Neolife family members. It's a privilege and an honor to me to be a guest speaker today. It was inspired by the talk or the last question, if I may say, last week about healing. I suggested that can we talk a little bit about healing? And now Dr. Eseza threw it back at me to say, okay, you talk about healing and we will participate. That is not what I expected, but I allowed myself to be thrown into the deep end today. But I like it because we have had counsel and guidance as a medical practitioner. So what I did was to look at the word healing, and I find out that healing is a present continuous verb. characterized by the ing at the end, meaning that it's a process. So I came across a few definitions that I would like to read to you today. It is a process of being healthy. I think Doctor has mentioned the word healthy, and where does it come from? It is a process of being healthy again, meaning that you took another state of being unhealthy, and now you are in the process of being healthy again. It's a process of restoring health. That is, health is absent and it must be restored. Again, it involves repair, recovery from illnesses or injuries. It both encompasses physical and some mental perspective in it, healing. And it is becoming whole, body, mind, and soul. Now we have joined Neolife. That's what I want to talk about today. That is, Neolife as a product cannot work alone. There are other, I would call them now agents, in the absence of the word that I can use. There are other agents that are involved, e.g., eating correctly. You cannot be taking Neolife hoping to be healed whilst you are not eating the correct way. Now, it means your nutrition now takes a priority in your life. You need to eat healthy. You need to cut out the things that are causing diseases. Number one of those things being sugar. Now you're taking Neolife and you are busy eating chocolates every day, cakes, ice creams, and hoping that somewhere, somehow, Neolife is going to work out a miracle for you. And at times we talk about children, and we know how children have a sweet tooth. That is, they would want ice creams and all, and yet they have all these other disorders. I want to encourage everyone on this platform today. Let's take it seriously that we eat healthy. Let us cut out the poisonous things that are affecting our lives negatively. I want to talk about 3 types of healing today. There are many, many, many types of healing. We would spend the whole day talking about them. But today I want to talk about physical health, emotional / mental health, and spiritual health. I think those that I've just mentioned are so intertwined, causing me to quote a quote by Anonymous that says, "No poison can kill a positive thinker, and yet no medicine can cure a negative person." What does that tell you? Your mindset is very important as you are working on your health. You cannot be a negative person. I think doctor has also advised us about cleaning material and other things, which I won't talk about, which are promoting a healthy lifestyle as well. But your mindset, because your mind is your head office, your mind with it, you attract so many things. Now, first of all, delete negativity, replace it with current information that is very truthful and that is going to help your mind tell your body to get healed. You cannot keep on reading negative information and hoping for your body somewhere, somehow to fight the diseases that you are struggling with in your life. So today, all I wanted to share from my side is, as we are members of Neolife, we got to make sure that our state of mind is in the right place as we're using the products. And also that our spiritual phase or our spirituality is so connected to what we believe in. And therefore, using the medication, you get the most, not medication, supplements, I'm sorry for the word. Using the supplements, you will get the most benefit out of the supplements. And lastly, I want to say to you, we have two greatest assets in life: health and time. Invest in your health, and you will buy more time and have a vibrant life. So, what am I saying to you today? Healing is something that is possible because it's a process. I don't think we ever come to a place whereby we say we are complete with healing. And yes, of course, in some instances, you can say, I'm healed of such and such a disease. But healing in totality, it's a process. You can't be healed of migraine. But then healing is still a process because your body still needs to heal itself from many, many, many other things that it's exposed to. So healing becomes a process, it becomes a part of our life journey. And Neolife is helping exactly us to get where we want to be with our health, but bearing in mind that nutrition, the state of the mind, your emotions are playing a critical role. When I was introduced, it was said, I love healing. I love supporting my family first to heal from childhood traumas. That can enslave you in terms of being progressive in your healing. Imagine being a bitter person, bitter at the core of your heart because of other things that have shaped you. And now you are starting to use, or you're trying to use different modalities of healing. It will not help you as long as you are bitter. Now you got to release bitterness, you got to release unforgiveness, and you will see healing in progress. So I want to say we cannot really expect a guarantee that says by using Neolife, definitely you will be healed. But at the same time, we can say by using Neolife, being in a right state of mind, eating the good nutrition, you are standing a very good chance of having progressive healing that enables you to thrive in this life. Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you for the opportunity. This is open to discussion, and I'm hoping to hear more from everyone on the platform. What are they thinking about healing? That was my thought, my opinion, and my perceptions about healing. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so, so much, Nela. And I will reiterate that when we start traveling the world together, everybody on this platform today, we need to have at least physical strength, and we should be healed physically, because otherwise you can't have much fun, right? So if anybody would like to add to this discussion, as I say, it was stimulated by last week when somebody asked, I think we discussed sickle cell disease, can it be healed? And literally the answer is yes, it can be healed if we take it as Nella has advised us. It's a process. If today you're better than you were yesterday, and then next week you are even better than you were last week, you're on your way to being healed, I believe. So, Nella, you're welcome to add to it while we're waiting for other people to put their hands up. Go for it.
Yes, once again, I would love to share with everyone on the platform that when I met Dr. Nambisi, I was in a very bad state. Um, my nervous system was almost failing me. My nerves were not functioning very well. I was losing balance, and inflammation was one of the markers that was identified, inflammation of the nerves and other things. And now it's 3 months. 3 months I've been on the is it called salmon omega-3? I think I haven't mastered the names, but omega-3, I've been on it, and I want to share a little story that I've observed, because it's good when you are using anything to observe your body. And I realized that my body has been feeling less and less of a pain. At first, we were very frustrated with pain management because I was experiencing excruciating pain. If anyone is here and has experienced nerve pain, they will know what I'm talking about. So I was making doctors' mind spin, like, you have to get something to manage this pain. And her being cautious of the fact that I cannot be using too much drugs that will also damage my liver. So begging me, in an actual fact, and I was very stubborn at that time in my state of mind, begging me to be patient with the products. I started using the omega. And I want to tell you today that I've recently, it's been a week, I've run out of omega 3, and the pains are creeping back. So why am I telling that to you? This thing, it works, but there's a consistency that you must keep at it as you are using the product. So I'm planning to buy this month and never to be without. The pain was, from 90% to 20% ever since I've started using, and the supplements started to kick into my body and system. Now I'm out of it. And I'm telling you, I'm almost back to the days I was not sleeping. So I'm not saying I'm not using other medication, but when I started to use other medication combined with the TriNN and the other products that she has recommended for me, there's been a progress that I've been noticing. And now that it's been a week, I've been out of the supplements, I'm also noticing a knock pain back. Thank you, Doc.
Yeah, no, thank you for that testimony. And it actually just emphasizes what I've been saying since I started these sessions. We have to be consistent, and we need to make a plan of how we're going to become consistent. And, Neolife is so brilliant. Their creativity is totally out of this world, because when I tell people that start with the cleaning products, I'm not trying to be difficult, ladies and gentlemen. I'm actually trying to show you a way to free up some money. You're already spending that money in the other shops buying products that might have the chemicals that will incite that inflammation. So I'll just tell you, when I first met Nella, okay, we hit it off like a house on fire, but I just kept on saying, "Ooh, this girl's bad attitude and temper will need some omega-3 and some TriNN." And sure enough, you've heard her story. She's so pleasant to talk to, and I'm sure that is her is just causing a lot of trouble. So yeah, thank you for that. And now let's unmute Gilbert. Um, Gilbert, I'm going to unmute you to say something. Go for it.
Yes, Doctor, thank you very much for that. And also Mrs. Nella Nodo. Yes, I also want to highlight the benefit of the omega-3. It is really, really nice, a nice supplement. I remember when I was introduced to these supplements, when I was in my early childhood, I was asthmatic, and we used to go to the pharmacies, they get the cod liver oil, and you would get that relief. But ever since I started on the Neolife Nutrition, was in particular the omega, and also the herbal respiratory, but in the omega in particular, it really helped me. In fact, I've never used an inhaler at all ever since. And it has done wonders for me. And whenever I'm sharing it out with someone, I share it with passion. And most of my friends, I share it with them. They tell me they're going to be on it for life, actually. Those are one of the compelling testimonies I get from omega-3. Just by introducing the omega as well as also the TriNN and also the other supplements. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. I've got a story as well about omega-3. I don't know whether I've told this story before. I used to work in a hospital where I was the doctor in the neonatal ICU. And this little baby was born with pneumonia, basically because the mother had a severe infection. So out he popped and got very severe pneumonia. So we tried everything, antibiotics, fluids, oxygen, and yeah. But by day about 5, I said to the sister that, you know what, sister, I'm going to bring some things, but I need your permission. I'm just telling you because I was in charge there, apart from the consultant who was above me. But I'm telling you that I'm going to do something, okay? So we whispered to each other, and I got omega-3. And what I'll do was prick the small capsule, actually pull it into a syringe, squirt it under the child's mouth, tongue, give the empty to the mother and another one to the mother. And so by the 3rd day, we could begin to wean off the oxygen. You know, each time we turn down the oxygen, the child would turn purple, blue, and would stop breathing. But by the 3rd day, we could wean it off. By the 4th day, we successfully weaned it off. 4 days after we started that progression of omega-3. By day 5, the baby was now latching. Now the baby's about 10 days old, latching and suckling very well. And I thought to myself, thanks to the omega-3 that the mother has been having for the past 5 days. And by the time the baby was about 12 days or almost 2 weeks, we could discharge them. Okay. And so I told that story at one of our conventions, at which one of the scientific advisory board members was. His name is, was it John Miller? No, Fred Hooper. So I and my husband had the absolute honor that evening, following the story I told up on the stage to thousands of people, to actually have dinner, to be invited to sit at the SAB members' dinner table and get really into conversation. But, you know, our products work. They do bring healing. But I like what Nella said. What is your mindset? What is your mindset about these products? So can we have some more comments or testimonies? Otherwise, meanwhile, I'll read what is in the chat while you're thinking. I like a comment by Maliza, who says, your mind is your head office. Absolutely. Healing is in the mind indeed, thanks to Simlindile. And Nella, you've been asked to quote about negative thinker and positive thinker. Perhaps you'll repeat what you said there, because it is struck a chord with somebody. And then, yes, indeed, start with your mind always. And Dr. Edwards says, my paracetamol, in quotes, is 3 omega and 3 CalMag. I actually can say that we don't keep drugs in our house. We are a bit different as doctors. Okay, I'll unmute you, Marisa. You want to say something? You can unmute. Unmute, please.
Okay, I have. First of all, that quote was straight from Nella. I just found it so amazing that I had to write it back. That your mind is your headquarters, your head office, right? I had a situation once with the nervous system some years ago, and I was petrified and called my upline, Dr. Esses, and she told me what to take, right? Because I'd been prescribed the regular chemicals from the pharmacy. So within a couple of weeks, I started getting back on track. So what I want to say is, I have opted, even this afternoon, a friend came and she asked, are all these your products? Because I have them somewhere she could see. And I said, yes, I eat my food. And I've stopped asking. what I'm eating, what is this for? Because nobody ever asks God who said, I've given you this and I've given you this, eat it all. You're not going to ask him, what is it for, right? So I actually eat my food with no questions, and I've not stopped for the past 10 years. What a difference it has made. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. And I can attest to all you've said, Marisa. Thank you. All right. Anybody else want to say something else? Otherwise, let me read a comment by Bertha. Omega-3 helped me manage my postpartum eclampsia. Wow. You know, I've always said that eclampsia and preeclampsia are actually pure inflammation of the endothelium. That is that huge other organ. We do say that the skin is the largest organ, yes, on top. But inside us is the endothelium, which can get horribly inflamed. That is the lining of each and every blood vessel that courses through us. That's what we call the endothelium. And that's what leads to eclampsia. Now, as I say, it's quite possible to get into the mode of describing things so that being healthy ceases to be rocket science. Now, that is a case in point. If that becomes inflamed, blood pressure will go up, water will be retained, and then if it affects the vessels of the brain, which it does, seizures can happen. So well done on that. Omega-3 helped to manage postpartum eclampsia. I was finally weaned off when my baby made 9 months. Weaned off what? I don't know. Okay, Formula 4 and CalMag helped me improve greatly. I was getting depression and anxiety. So true that they have added benefits always. Okay, so I'm going to unmute somebody with a very interesting name. No, you don't want to be unmuted after all. Okay. The quote was, "No poison can kill a positive thinker. No medicine can cure a negative person." All right. No poison can kill a positive thinker, and no medicine can cure a negative person. So can you unmute yourself, please, Teka, if you want to say something?
Hello.
Hello.
Is there any information for sickle cell?
Yeah, we discussed that last week, and we have supplements that can help greatly. Perhaps we can share the recording with you. But yes, there are supplements, or you can find it on the YouTube. But basically, if you remember that sickle cell affects hemoglobin in the red blood cells, hemoglobin is a protein that helps to carry oxygen around the body. So because of it being a protein, you need to make sure that your body can create the proteins. And so we have all the products, but key to it is the Neolife Shake. A lot of people don't use Neolife Shake, and I'm sure as I look at the screen, I can imagine just a small percentage of people regularly use Neolife Shake. Granted, it is a pricey product, granted, and that is why we have a business attached. Or your parents, I can hear you're quite young, your parents can make a plan to earn the money so that you are regularly and consistently on Neolife Shake. So yes, as time goes on, you won't see it immediately, but with consistent use, you will see an improvement. And that's the topic for today, where healing is a present continuous, it's in the present continuous tense. It's an ongoing process. It isn't, you can't say that it comes to an end. Okay. So that's the answer to that one.
So
you can
only
put your...
that New Life Shake, and what else?
3NN,
Treatment.
omega-3. Mm-hmm. Are you visitors? Are you not in the family?
We are.
Are you in the New Life family?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Because what I wanted to find out, whether
Mhm.
New Life Shake, because it has contained many proteins that can harm
Mhm.
the sickle cell body.
No, it has amino acids that help to build protein.
Yeah. Oh, amino acids help build protein, eh?
Yes.
Yes.
So now you just come to your upline and have this discussion, and then we can have it again offline, okay? We can
Yes,
discuss
yes.
it offline. If you turn to your upline, then we can make a plan to chat through it again, okay?
Okay. Thanks. Yes.
All right.
All right.
And
TNN.
then there's a comment here. You can put your hand down to account.
Yes.
Okay. What products should my client who has oral sores and bleeding? It sounds like either he has
Yes.
either hemorrhoids or he has ulcerations due to low immunity. Again, if we simplify it, once the immune system is not performing well, all these diseases will happen. But you support the immune system and nourish the body, then the process of healing begins to take place. And it is a road, it is a journey that one walks. Okay. And as Mrs. Nodo said, Mela said that you can't continue life as usual, eating all the sugar and all the junk food and hope that healing will happen. You have to be willing to let go of that. Okay, Joan Namujuzi, would you like to tell us something? You can unmute.
Good evening, ladies
Hi.
and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Dr. Eseza, because we've gotten so wise because of your talks every Tuesday, and we appreciate the commitment. I just wanted to add that omega-3 is indeed our painkiller in your life. Omega and CalMag. If you want to stop that, definitely have a client
Your network is really
who
shaky.
was having has been using painkillers for years, and she couldn't let go. But recently, the doctor has actually removed her on those painkillers, and she's feeling much better. She has just used the omega for about 2 months and a half. So you can imagine.
Okay.
Yes. I hope
Namjuzi, your network is really, really not good. Sorry. Do you want to say that again? Sorry, your network. Oh, it seems to have let her down completely. Okay. There's a comment here that is very, very relevant and pertinent. Inconsistency is the stumbling block toward healing. There's an HIV patient who has consistently chewed 3NN for 4 months. He had, before that, lost weight greatly to 45 kilos. He is 64 years old, and within 1.5 months, that's in 6 weeks, he gained 5 kilos. So what clearly happened was that the cells began to get the nutrients. And if he was on any medication, the medication could access the inside of the cell and do their work. And because of that, it became not a waste of money. So that is brilliant. Well done. Okay. Namjuzi, are you in a better position to speak to us now?
Yes, I believe I am. Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes, I was saying omega-3 and CalMag are basically our painkillers, especially for people who are in severe pains and they have been probably on painkillers. I've seen it work with a client who has been on long-term painkillers because of arthritis, severe arthritis for years, and her condition keeps improving. At the moment, the doctors have stopped the pharmaceutical painkillers, but she's not feeling the pain like before, and she's progressing very well. And she has just used Omega for like 2 months and a half. So it's really awesome. Yes, but I also had a question about a client who was referred this evening, who was claiming they have been on ulcer medication since March, but they are not seeing much progress. And whenever they eat something, they throw up or have diarrhea, especially when they take in water after food. So could that be a side effect of the medication for ulcers? Because they wanted to start on our products, but it's like they are still skeptical. They think maybe I should go. You know, there are some people who are, their mind is still medical. They believe in that. So just help me have a clear picture of that.
Okay. Yeah, what you need to do is share one of the recordings that I've done. I've done numerous recordings on the gut and gut health and the disadvantages of many so-called ulcer medications. They are antacid, all right? And just like an antibiotic, it goes against biotic being life. An antidepressant is supposed to sort out depression, but how it does it is a technique in its own way. So an antacid comes along and stops acid. Now, when we put food through our mouths, it falls into the stomach. The stomach, by nature, that's the way it was created, it's supposed to be very acidic, between an acid level between 1 and 3, where 7 is neutral and above 7 is alkaline. So this is supposed to be between 1 and 3. That is super acidic. Our skin is supposed to be between 5 and 6, about 5.5 to 6.5. So it's also supposed to be acidic, but not as acidic as the stomach, all right? And for many reasons, once food falls in there, it needs an acidic medium to help to break down that piece of meat that the person may have eaten, okay? And so if that is not happening because there is no acid, because you've taken an antacid to stop the acid, because somebody thought that they should treat the symptom that they've called acid, all right? It is actually going totally against the way we are made. And instead, the bacterium called H. pylori will come and take residence because now it has free reign. And so it becomes a vicious cycle where ulcers are created by the H. pylori, which has been invited there because there is no acid to stop the H. pylori, and on it goes. So Sylvia has just said we need to be consistent. I would recommend that if she gets out of her own way, stops being so skeptical, she would start and not expect with the first TreeNN capsule and the first omega-3 capsule to be healed, okay? We are discussing healing, but to literally go on the journey of healing, because it is a journey, and be consistent and have a vision for herself. If her vision is to reach that point that she can call, I undergoing healing, and I am better this month than I was last month. And if I continue like this, I will get much better. That's a good goal. But if her goal is to not offend anybody by doing something that is not quite what is commonly known, so she's afraid to hurt somebody's feelings. It's okay even if she carries on with the pain as long as nobody else gets hurt. Well, then just find out how else you want to help her, if she has any other ideas, and maybe she would be able to discuss with you her opinion, and then you can respect her opinion and leave it at that. Because that's the essence of this family. Some will, some won't, but out there somewhere, we saw it in Cape Town the other day, that there are thousands of people. I actually posted it on my status yesterday, that if people on the Africa continent was to stand shoulder to shoulder, I'll post it again one of these days, we can go around the earth 6 times of the people that are still waiting to hear about what we've got. So you won't run out of people to share with. That's the reason for that story. You will never run out of people to share with. So if you feel that she's not ready, it's not her time now, may I suggest you move on to the next person and the next person, and then keep in touch with her. That's how we operate in this family. We don't throw people out or away, but we again don't spend too much of our emotions and time if that person is not ready for the message. I hope that is clear. And now I will finally look at any more comments. Yeah, some will, some won't, somewhere. Someone is waiting, absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we've almost arrived at the top of the hour. We are going of the second quarter. It is the last month of this particular quarter. And I think it's been a good quarter. May I encourage you all to please share in your life and please step up. There is so much virtue in stepping up because you encourage other people. And I'm also speaking to myself, by the way. And I'll tell you what it will take for me to step up so that we do it as an exercise. I have to help more people. Amazing people on the screen, and I'm saying I would love to work with all the people that I know to step up to the next level and the next level. And let us actually purpose to arrive in Cairo in May 2026 in a big way. Couldn't that be amazing? So thank you very much. If there's nothing else, I will just read Sylvia's comment at the end. Let her be examined properly, Joan Namajusi, and you get to know what type of ulcer does not have. A proper diagnosis is required. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that's why I insist that she keeps in touch with her doctor. All right. Thank you. We'll see each other next week. I will think up of something to discuss next week.